Back to another episode of Capscast. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host Damien.
Hey everyone, how you doing?
So we've had a couple weeks of some, I would say, like lackluster action. We had the Leagues Cup, and then jumped right back into MLS Cup play.
Yeah, and Matt and I talked about this. Obviously, we've had a little bit of a break while the Leagues Cup were on, and we are going to put about as much effort into going over the Leagues Cup as the Whitecaps put into playing in the Leagues Cup, which isn't much. So, have you got anything to say about the Leagues Cup, Matt?
And there's our effort on the Leagues Cup.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Like, the team didn't really show up. That first game, you could tell that Jesper wasn't really going for it, playing basically a C team, would you call it? Like, it wasn't, I don't know.
I think he made his intentions pretty clear.
Yeah.
He made his intentions clear that we are focused on Canadian Championship and the MLS season.
Yeah.
I mean that's all there is to say. Top four obviously went through. We had the two games at home, essentially knocked us out of contention from even progressing, and that's it. I don't think there's anything to even look into. I think it was just a rotational games where we could get some second choice players in, and then also it provided a little bit of a break to get some first team players back.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
So that bleeds into we've had a two match week, which is always nice for us, especially at home, which is good. So first game is the Vancouver-Houston match on the 19th. So that was on Wednesday. So we're about almost a week removed from that. Very, very, very lackluster game as well. I think Houston set up in that low block, and that was it.
Yeah, they had a low block there, and I think we just couldn't penetrate, couldn't get past it, couldn't really do anything. I think if you look at the stats there, we had over 60% possession at the end of the game, which, to control a game that much and then lose, be on the actual losing side of that, I think the shot count was heavily in our favor as well.
So let's throw some stats out here. Let's overwhelm people with stats. Now, the worst stat of all time is the XG. Vancouver had 1.42 XG. 64% possession, 17 shots, 1 on target, 36 touches in the opposition box, which is nuts. The stat basically explains the game. 16 shots, 1 on target.
How do you have 36 attempts, or 36 touches, sorry, in the opposition box and not score at all? Like, 1 shot on target from, I don't know, 17 attempts, right, you said?
17 shots, yeah.
And 1 on target. Yeah, I don't know. That to me is, I don't know, it's just poor. It's very, very poor. Illumi was up top, right, for that?
Illumi was up top. So the striker was Illumi. Check Sabally out wide. Then Sabally gets removed at halftime for Muller. Then, if you remember, this was kind of sandwiched in with Illumi having that the goal disallowed for the foul in the build-up.
Okay, yes, I do. Oh, and the foul in the build-up, that was a joke in itself. I thought the whole thing about VAR was meant to be, like, so we could go back if there was a clear and obvious error. That coming together, to me, was not a clear and obvious error from the referee. He saw the challenge and deemed that it wasn't good enough. Once you are sent to that pitch side monitor, 90% of the time, probably more, 99% of the time, the referee changes his mind. So I feel like VAR knew what they were doing there, and did we deserve to win the game? If we can't score from 17 shots and only have one on target, we don't deserve to win a game anyway.
I don't even think you deserve a point at that.
Yeah, like we have to get better going forward. Obviously the disallowed goal doesn't help, but still, one shot on target with 64% possession is just outrageous. Yeah, yeah,
Pretty much doubled. Pretty much almost doubled the possession.
Yeah.
So I think this match was an entire example, like one giant example of what we've touched on since we've returned to these episodes, is that there's no creativeness in the team right now. There was no finishing. There was no clinical finishing. Nobody was making runs. I know there's a lot of chat right now, probably around Muller, just like the creativeness. This is a player that we brought in to change the game, and he was. Just nobody was making the runs. There's only so much he can do with the ball on his foot if nobody's going to provide him an outlet.
Yeah, I agree. Like he needs the people around him to be doing the right stuff as well. It's like you say, he can't do it all. He's also 36.
Yeah, he is. Which, I mean, he's just as old as I am, but I mean, it's just...
He's still a very, very, very important player for the club.
So important as a player, regardless of his age. And I think what he does off the ball and in terms of directing the play when he gets the ball at his foot and making those passes is far more important than relying on him to score.
Yeah.
Because he's making everybody around him better. And I'd actually argue that I think Berhalter found a second gear when Muller joined the team.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think it's also one of them things where if you put more quality into a squad, the players that are looking for that almost inspiration, the guidance to become better, let's say, the coaching, the on-field coaching, like having more on the pitch, being able to dictate and tell you where to run, like that's priceless for a footballer, especially an MLS footballer who hasn't had anything like that.
And you learn from that too, right?
Yeah.
That is applicable in every ounce of your game.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So I kind of want to shut down that negativity that I have heard of, has he lost a step? Why isn't he scoring as much? It's like, it's a 36-year-old attacking midfielder who's always been known for his creativeness and dictating of the space.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that was a very important match because that was a top of the table match in the sense that we do have this game on hand, and that we now have a game on hand in Houston. We dropped the points, but let's kind of put a lay of the land here, because what's really important, I think, is this Dallas game. So I think moving on from that, we kind of look at the table a bit differently. We're getting a lot of help right now.
Yes, we are.
A lot of help. And I've been reading a lot of articles, and they're saying that the three teams in the mix right now, there really is only three teams, potentially an honorable mention of a fourth. You've got Nashville, who seem to be running away in the East. You've got Inter Miami, who are just not with it right now. They've been dropping points left, right, and center.
Casemiro seems to be the unlucky charm, you could say.
You've got us in the mix, who I think before we get into this Dallas game, if you looked at us right now, you'd be like, nah. Like,
you'd be panicking a little bit as a Whitecaps fan here, because we started the season so unbelievably well. Then a major disruption in the season, obviously, with the World Cup. And since the World Cup, we have been well below par.
Flat.
Yeah, for more or less all the games
So,
aside. No.
looking at the West now, you've got Houston, who before this Dallas game were leading by 2 points. LA are also dropping points left, right, and center.
Okay.
So I think the time for the time to get hot is right now. And I think this Dallas game is the start of the hotness, if that makes sense.
I do hope so myself.
Here's why. Here's why before we kind of really dig deep into this. This was the first time that Gauld, White, Muller all started.
Yeah. It was quite nice because obviously with the MLS they don't post the teams until maybe 30 minutes before kickoff. So we were like driving down to the stadium and it was quite a nice feeling, like opening the phone, seeing that and seeing them three on the pitch together.
Honorable mention as well, you had Priso starting and sent that center back next to Blackman.
Yes.
You had Cubas also with Larraz partnered in the middle. I think before we get into the full game, and then you had Sabi up top with Gauld.
Yeah.
So you had a sneaky 4 up top, I would say, before we... I've got some quick fire at the end, though, that I want to give to you. So let's jump into this Dallas game. It starts hot. Hot.
Yeah, we were fantastic from the get-go. It was honestly it was very reminiscent of the beginning of the season when we did come out so hot in games and we looked like we just wanted to take over and run the game from the get-go. It was just such a almost like heartwarming experience to be in the city and watching that after like the crap that we've seen over the last month since the World Cup.
And you said this during the game. Sabi scores 11 minutes in and his confidence just goes through the absolute roof.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a term that like a lot of my friends back in England used to throw around a lot, a confidence player. And sort of similar to like a Jesse Lingard, where if he does something good early on, like the goal that he scored, he turns into a different animal on that pitch. Like, it's almost like he's unplayable after he scored that goal.
This man's is out there trying rainbow flicks.
Man, I was just about to say, yeah, like the rainbow flick, like Sabi turned into prime Neymar. Come on, like, yeah, I thought Sabi was sensational all game for the whole game until I think he got subbed off in like the 65th. I genuinely think he was absolutely outrageous for the whole time he was on the pitch.
So, and then Brian White also returns to form with 2 goals. Probably could have had a first half hat trick with the amount of chances he was getting.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And yeah, I think he was very unlucky, and you've got to remember, he's only just come back into the squad. So, like, maybe there's a little bit... I know he got his 2 goals. Maybe there's a little bit of rust on some level, where 2 more games in, he scores all 4 of them chances that he gets in that first half, and then, yeah.
So but yeah, go on.
I thought Brian White was sensational, and I just want to add though, I think it was, there was a goal, and I think it was Brian White's first goal. The ball that Ocampo played over the top was sensational.
Hanging balls.
Yeah, like it was everybody on that team just had a very, very good game, I feel like.
Ocampo, I thought, played so well on that right back position as well.
Yeah, I'd agree, for sure.
So the crazy stat is, so the Houston game, let's backtrack a little bit here, had 16 shots, 1 on target. The Dallas game, 17 shots, 8 on target, 5 goals.
Yeah, that's crazy, really, isn't it? Like, the contrast there from the 2 games is just nuts. It shows, though, when you've got your best attackers on the pitch, we score goals. Like, that front 4 there of Gold, Savvy, Muller, and Brian White, it's got to be up there with the best attacking unit in MLS currently. Like, the sensational, they were all unbelievable. The interplay between all 4 of them was like very good all game. It was, yeah, like I said, man, it was very, very similar to the beginning of the season when everything seemed to click every game.
So let me jump and ask you this question then was Dallas the first time we've seen Vancouver's true first choice attack together? And is Gauld, Muller, Sabi, White now unquestionably the front 4?
See, it's 3 of them players, I would say 100% every week in White, Gold, Muller. The thing with Sabi is his form does kind of go up and down a little bit, and I really think Caicedo is a hell of a player. I think he's a little bit young at the moment. You see a couple of times where he almost tries to do too much and he ends up running the ball out of play. And it's happened in a few games, but you sort of don't mind that because he's trying to get by the player, trying to take the defender on every time. And I feel like that's what fans want to see. Don't get me wrong, I love the holding the possession and like playing the ball around and like watching us like dominate games that way. When you get a winger that wants to actually run at a defender, kind of like Sabi with the rainbow flick, like swapping Sabi for Caicedo in that game, it was like the perfect substitution. You took a player off who's got flair, charisma, character to like attack people, go at people with energy and like just really get at the defenders. And then the defender's probably thinking, shit man, thank God he's going off. All of a sudden you're up against Caicedo. Next thing you know, you're just being like fucking dipped on every single time.
Caicedo scored as well at the 68th minute. So it just seems like that is going to be the natural rotation of Sabi, Caicedo. You slot in any one of them. I think that is the attack, really.
Yeah, and I think this might be a little bit of a sus mention. I want to say Liam McKenzie did very, very well apparently in the I think it was the under-21s World Cup for Canada. Apparently had an outstanding tournament. Maybe he starts getting a look in that rotation phase as well, just so the fans can start to see what he can do.
Mm-hmm. I think the homegrown is going to be super important, potentially looking forward to this like Canadian Championship run. That is coming up too. I know that's like on the list of like our things to cover at the end. But we can kind of discuss on him later, I think, because I think he should deserve some sort of chance potentially depending how the tie turns out.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely.
So in this Dallas game then, so Vancouver up 4-0 before the halftime whistle even blows. This is very impressive considering the slump that we were just coming off of, I guess you could say.
Yeah, considering how we'd played previously, like coming into this game, I feel like we were both going into it a little bit anxious, worried about like what could happen if we lost this and a few results had gone against us. We could have started slipping down that table very quick.
We're very lucky that we're getting help right now. Because this run since the World Cup has not been good. we're not getting points where we should be, and we're dropping easy points.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I believe this game might be the turning point. And in previous seasons, you've always kind of wanted the help, right? Whether that was Seattle beating Portland or, both of those teams dropping points to each other and walking away with a draw. But it
Yeah.
just seems like that wasn't happening. And now we're finally getting a little bit of help. And it almost was like we were just turning our wheels in the mud because we just couldn't break away.
Yeah.
Like, if you really want to think about it, we should probably be like 9 points clear right now.
Yeah, with the games that we've like stumbled on and like dropped points in, even since the World Cup, yeah, for sure we should be way more clear than we are. I do take a little bit of comfort in the fact that we've got the game in hand. But as well, I just want to touch the 4 goals before half time. I might have saw one of my favourite headed goals that I will ever see at the Whitecaps, and honestly, it looks. I feel like on TV it kind of looks like nothing. Even in the ground, it kind of looks like a nothing header. But for Ocampo to get the ball up and down and over the keeper from that angle and being that close to him, I genuinely feel that it is one of the greatest headers we will ever see in BC Place. Like,
So
it was outstanding. I don't know how he's done it. It's like he's managed to curl the ball with his head.
watching that live, I thought he was playing a ball into the box.
Exactly what I thought as well. Yeah, it looked like he was going to head it back across, and then it was just the most delicate little dink headers over the keeper, and you could see it in the keeper the way he landed, and his hands just come down in. It was like he knew that he had been done in that moment, and yeah, there's nothing you can do about it as a keeper. It's a fantastic header.
Just phenomenal. So let's go into player kind of analysis here. So the first one to mention is Brian White. This is his return to the 11 after the hamstring issue. Bags 2. Now he has 12 goals and 18 appearances in MLS play.
That's incredible, eh?
How different do we look as an attack with Brian White as the focal point compared to potentially someone like Alumi or somebody filling in that 9 role? I think that's like the biggest discussion, especially after coming off the Houston game with essentially 0 shots, 0 shots on target, and then the Dallas game where you have 17 shots with 5 goals.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right?
Crazy contrast to have similar stats with completely different results.
Yeah, I think that alone shows how important he is to the team. I feel like this might be a little bit harsh. I really like Alumi, and I think he's going to be a very, very, very good striker. I feel like we need almost like a midpoint striker between Brian White and Alumi, who can step in if anything happens to White. Kind of almost similar to how Danny Rios was.
I was just going to say it, and I was trying to remember his fucking name.
Yeah, I feel like he did a good job of coming in and providing the experience up top that maybe Alumi's lacking a little bit, which obviously will come with time.
Because how old is Alumi? He's not.
He's 18, I think.
Like, I feel like we're so harsh on him.
Like, that's what I mean. That's why I'm trying not to be so harsh on him. It's that he's a kid.
Yeah, he's 18.
Yeah, like, what were we doing at 18? Not playing for the Whitecaps in the first team, do you know what I mean? Like, it's who are we saying about it? It's that's what I mean, right? It's like, for his age and like for what he's actually doing, he's an outstanding striker. Like the goal that he scored the other night. Who was that against? Maybe that was against LA.
Yeah, LA.
Yeah, and he dinked it like round the keeper. That was like phenomenal, and he's gonna be a very, very good striker. I just think it's for an 18-year-old to come into the MLS and try and lead the line, unless we're talking about maybe like an Alphonso Davies level talent, it's going to be very, very difficult.
It's also because the pressure is on us right now. We're top of the table.
Yeah.
I want to say we're being chased, but we're getting help from people on slowing down the chase. And we're expecting performances. And right now we're injury plagued. Your main striker goes down with a hamstring issue. Bring on the 18-year-old kid to play super high level MLS expectations.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's what it is. We are high level MLS at the moment. It's not like we had that when we had them seasons where we were like the worst team in the MLS. And if it was coming on, it wouldn't matter. Let's say we are the best team at the same pace.
Throw it back 4 years ago. I would love to see Illumi on the pitch. Like, I would love to see it, right?
Yeah.
But right now, it is very difficult, and the pressure is on the kid. And I get it. He got picked to go with Tunisia. Yeah, Tunisia to the World Cup. So that's also kind of, I would say, mounting pressure on you, because they always fucking bring it up on the MLS, on the MLS broadcast. Oh, here comes Ryan Illumi.
Yeah.
Called up to Tunisia as an 18-year-old. It's like, geez, like, let's back off the kid a little bit, because what we're expecting him to do at this level is very, very high. And minutes on the pitch are always going to be good for a young player. But I just think it's unfair for the criticism and the expectation that we're putting on him.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, he can't be expected to perform at the same level as Brian White. Like, that's...
And if he comes out flying one game, comes out flying one match, sure, I love it. Best striker in the world. Sell him for a massive profit back to Bayern. Like, you know what I mean? I will die on that hill. But just right now, I think patience needs to be expressed with this kid. And I'm guilty of it too, because when he's on, I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Like everybody else. So I think you're right, though, that we need a second choice striker that also helps elevate Illumi and gives him someone to battle for within the squad.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
I don't agree with pushing him out of the squad.
No.
I just mean making him more of a complete striker.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, yeah.
So that's the striker, obviously, chatted about. Eddie Ocampo has possibly the most complete performance on the pitch.
Yeah, I thought Ocampo for the whole game was really, really good. I feel like this year he's turned into an outstanding right back.
Man, I thought this of Ocampo last year in the Champions Cup, that he was just an absolute unit out there.
Yeah. That
didn't really transpire as much, but I think this year he's just got that dog in him. Like,
yeah, he fights for everything. He is up and down that wing non-stop. He has bags and bags of energy all the time, and I don't even know where it comes from. It's incredible to watch him.
You know what? This is something you said too last year. It just reminded me as you were chatting, is that like this was someone that you pegged as like a new signing that we didn't get to know as much, so you were excited to see. I think that was kind of like last season you pegged him as like a really like a new signing because he hadn't played too much before. But yeah, I think he was just so dangerous going forward.
Well, yeah, look at his stats there. He got like the goal and the assist, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was crucial in even creating Brian White's best though. It was a complete performance from him. But the most complete performance on the pitch, personally for me, I would disagree.
Yeah.
I think one that went under the radar and was a monstrosity of a performance was Andreas Kubas.
Man, it's because nobody will give flowers to a defensive performance when you have a right back that helped essentially with an assist and a goal. But I would 100% agree with you that Andreas Kubas was undoubtedly the most overlooked man of the match.
Yeah, man, I've actually like got a list of stats here. Like we'll get into him in a minute, like, but I've got a list of stats like on him from the game, and it's
so like just before
you think I was making it.
Let's dive into it because the question I have for you is just that is Ocampo the first name on the team sheet for right back, which I think is an automatic yes.
Oh yeah, God, point. There's nobody else at the moment. Like it's
which is kind of shitty to say because Adekugbe, the Canadian international, this guy has just been so unlucky with injuries. But I think he's kind of.
But he's also left back. I wouldn't. There is absolutely the only time I would play Adekugbe over Ocampo at right back is if Ocampo was injured.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even saying that in a shitty way. Like it's like I wouldn't put. For me at the moment, I wouldn't play a left-footed player at right back. It's too much risk of having to come back in onto your like inside every time you're as a defender on the right wing or on the left back, right back. Naturally, you want to like get out wide because it's where the space is to get away from players.
Seems like the natural sub has been Ocampo for Adekugbe just because of Tate Johnson putting in shifts.
Yeah, I suppose, but it's not for me. It's would I play Adekugbe over Tate Johnson at left back, and even for that at the moment, my answer's no. And I understand that Adekugbe is a Canadian international and all that, and maybe there's a bit of a bias against Tate Johnson from some people in the Whitecaps community because he's American and all. Like they all booed the anthem on Saturday. But at the end of the day, I think Tate Johnson at the moment is maybe on par with Adekugbe and has the potential to be so much better.
Yeah.
But I think Tate Johnson in the next 2 years will be moving to England.
Which is
probably to Middlesbrough.
Which is pretty nuts because, I mean, you always said it was like, man, this guy came in through the MLS Super Draft from Duke. Duke is not known for their football. They're known for their they're known for their basketball, not even their American football. And this guy went into pocketing Messi in the Leagues Cup and the Champions Cup.
He was a weird, like, it's a different, like, type of draft pick as well, because he was what they call a Generation Adidas.
Yeah.
Draft pick, which I don't actually know what that means. I just know that was a tag that was given to him. I don't know if that means some sort of sponsorship thing through Adidas or whatever, but yeah, I think at the moment for me, Ocampo, 100% the right back every game that he's fit, and I think Tate Johnson at the moment, even with a fully fit Adekugbe, is still my left back. But yeah, let me just dive into the Andreas Kubas performance.
Yeah, let's go back to that because I want to hear you talk about your guy.
So I think this is absolutely outrageous. He was basically on the pitch for the whole thing, the 90 minutes. He attempted 82 passes. 74 were completed with a pass accuracy of 90.2%. That's incredible anyway. He makes 11 tackles in the game, 1 block, 1 interception, 10 ball recoveries, and wins 13 of 18 ground duels, leaving him with a success rate of 72%. Here is where the absolutely absurd stat lies on its own ahead of everything else. He made 11 tackles in one game. The whole of the Dallas team only attempted 17 tackles in the entire game. Andreas Kubas made 11. That is unbelievable. That is outrageous. He was absolutely everywhere all game. No matter when Dallas got the ball, Andreas Kubas was next to them. I genuinely thought there was 3 Kubases on the pitch at one point. It was he must have been at the top of the list. I've not got the stat for it, but he must have been at the top of the list for kilometers covered in that game.
He had 68% of successful tackles for the entire team.
Man, for me, he was the player of the match for that game. I think what we've got to look at here as well is when we're talking about this is you could probably sit there and ask now, is Kubas the best defensive midfielder in the MLS? And I would always say yes. I think he's outrageous. I think he's the only thing keeping him at the Caps at the moment, I think, is the salary that he's on and the fact that none of these South American teams can actually match it. You've got to look at this game in a way of Kubas had 11 tackles, 10 recoveries, 13 ground duels, completed 90% of his passes, and managed to get an assist. This isn't a defensive midfielder having a good game. This is a player absolutely dominating and controlling the midfield. Like, show me a better performance from a defensive midfielder anywhere in the MLS this season. I don't think it exists.
No, I think, yeah.
He was, for me, undeniably the best player on the pitch, and he's probably the first player that I'd put down on the team sheet. If I were Sorensen at the moment, that would be the player that I would be building the team around, because if you think about it this way, if you take Kubas out of the team at the moment, who goes in and does that job with the same effect? There's nobody.
No.
Absolutely nobody.
Nobody. Yeah. I 100% agree with you that, I mean, he obviously did not have the stats of an offensive night that would, cast this like, hey, this is a man of the match performance. But this was like a supporter's man of the match, if that makes sense. Where this was the most important player on that pitch.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean as well. Like, with the attacking side of the game was so exceptionally good, and the things that players like Ocampo, Gold, Sabi, Muller, Brian White were doing were that exceptional that this absolute 10 out of 10 performance from a defensive midfielder went completely unnoticed by a lot of people. But 11 tackles in itself is an outrageous stat. Like, that's breaking down the play once every 9 minutes. He's stopping Dallas building out once every 9 minutes. That's nuts.
I'm just gonna try and one thing that I wish that I had got ahead of time was the average recovery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe we can potentially get some sort of AI sponsorship. Potentially AI sponsorship to bring this up for us. Because it just felt like whenever Houston had the ball, it was within seconds they were being closed down.
Yeah, that's because Kubas was there. It was every time they got the ball. He was... And, oh no, he didn't pick up a yellow card, did he? Or did he? I can't remember if he picked up a yellow card or not, but it doesn't even matter. He was...
He did pick up a yellow card. It was a very early yellow card, if I'm not mistaken, as well. But, I mean...
Okay, so even
the guy's game does not change if he's on a yellow, which is insane. Because you see a lot of these defensive midfielders, if they get a card, 20, 30 minutes into the match, they pull back a little bit. That intensity is gone. This guy's out there not giving a shit if he gets a second yellow, or he's just so dialed in his game that he's so confident in where his touch is going to be.
I think that's what it is. I don't think it's necessarily not giving a shit, because I think he is a proper team player. I think it's more the confidence in his own ability and just honestly knowing that he is better than the person that is on the ball. I think he looks at it and he doesn't think, oh, this guy might take me on. His thought process every time going into any sort of like challenge is, I'm coming away with this ball, where's my next pass going to be?
Yeah.
And even when he's on a yellow card, to be doing that, to be on a yellow card and still make 11 tackles is, yeah, I don't know. The best defensive midfield performance we've seen for the Whitecaps all season, and I genuinely think for maybe in the MLS this year.
So I think this entire match is I don't want to say a shadow, but I think it's a very good look of what's to come in a healthy squad. If this squad, now we're going to get into the fixtures and all that, during the congestion that's going to happen between now and pretty much October, if Sorensen can keep the squad healthy through rotations and, kind of limiting minutes when they need to be limited. Like, I thought he did a really, really good job of pulling Gauld off, of pulling White off. I would have pulled Muller off, but I mean, whatever. Pulling Sabi off, getting Sabali back out there, getting Caicedo out there, and getting Illumi back out there in a very dominating game. I thought that was perfect in terms of like avoiding injury, unnecessary injury, because those guys are not going to stop. They are not going to shut off. This performance looked like they were not going to let up. It didn't matter if it was the 89th minute or the 62nd minute. They were not going to let off no matter the scoreline.
Yeah. It seemed like we were constantly hungry for goals, right? It was
just so. Yeah, I think that was a very good look at what's to come. So I have some questions then that I want to just kind of throw your way, and then we can kind of get into the next couple of matches. Then we'll just kind of wrap this up here. And I'm going to let you answer because I'm not going to butt in. So what changed between taking 16 shots against Houston and then taking 17 against Dallas while scoring 5?
It's going to sound harsh on the front four that was playing for the Houston game, but that was a big difference. Having an out-and-out striker, maybe the MLS's best striker in Brian White up top, and a confident Sabi, and a Gauld that was... I mentioned to you in the game that Gauld was playing at a similar level to what we saw before the knee injury. And yeah, I think when they're all playing like that, I think that was the difference. I think having our best front four on the pitch and they were all ticking at the same time, I think that's where the difference was there.
Yeah, I agree. So the next question they had, you actually kind of went into it about your rant about Andres Cubas being the best defensive midfielder in the MLS. I think that's just a hard yes. There's no...
Yeah, die on that hill.
Rewind this podcast back 5 minutes and you got your answer there.
Yeah.
So is this the deepest squad that we've had?
Sorry, say that again. Is this the
deepest squad we've had?
In terms of being able to rotate in and out of the squad and depth and stuff, yes, yeah. I think so. I think it's the MLS, right? We've always had a lot of players. I think this is the only time that we've had a lot of players that can come into the squad and you don't really have to change the way the squad plays too much. Like, every single player that comes in and out plays the same role as the player before them, which it's quite nice to have that in a squad. Like, you're not having to sub on an attacking midfielder into a defensive midfielder role and saying, hey, you need to figure out the role. I think having Ralph Priso might be the best thing that we've got. He seems to be able to play anywhere on that pitch. He's like a Swiss Army knife. It can be used for everything.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I put him up top if we were struggling.
I don't want to say this because I'm not starting to, but I'm a huge fan of Ralph Priso.
Yeah, me too.
Him moving to center back was, it's almost like, what did Sorensen cook with that? Because he just turned into like this class center back. So two more questions for you then.
I think in terms of squad quality though, this is definitely like the best squad depth that we've ever had.
So two more questions. Are the Whitecaps, after all this like doom and gloom of the Leagues Cup, blah, 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 are Vancouver suddenly back to being a genuine MLS Cup contender? And do we have the ability to push for the Supporter Shield with the current gap of, I think, 9 points?
So I think with the current gap of 9 points there, that gap, like, obviously we've got the game in hand on Nashville, which could take it down to 6. It's quite a big gap to make up that in the MLS, but at the same time, with all the travel that you've got to do to away games, there's a good chance that Nashville slip up somewhere along the road here. If we can maintain this like level of performance that we put in at Dallas for the rest of the season, we'll definitely be in the mix. I think there isn't a team in the MLS that we can't beat. Do you know what I mean? Like we would definitely beat every other team in the MLS, especially if we played them in BC Place.
That's what I was going to add on to the end of it. I know I said I wasn't going to answer these questions, but I think if we cannot make up the 9-point gap, whatever, let them have the Supporter Shield. What the most important thing right now that we can achieve is home field advantage all the way through to the semifinals, and hope that if Nashville do win the Supporter Shield, that somebody slips them through the playoffs, just like Philadelphia last year.
Yeah.
Because if we can become, I mean, I know it's by points total, but if we can come second in the Supporter Shield race, I think that is the second best option. I mean, obviously it's the second best option. First best would be winning the Supporter Shield, but I think realistically, coming second in the Supporter Shield would be phenomenal in setting us up for an MLS Cup run. Because that LAFC game in the playoffs last year was absolutely fucking nuts. So, yeah, I think the last question I have, and I think this is a combined answer, is like, and I think we all know that, but what would be your strongest 11 right now?
Oh, my strongest 11 for right now, and we're taking into consideration like the injury to Veselinovic, right? Like available players, let's say.
Yeah. So
obviously, attacking net, I think Takaoka is maybe the best keeper in the MLS. I saw, sorry to just go off a bit here. I saw something today from the MLS's official Twitter page showing the team of the week. I was quite shocked. There were only 2 keepers in the entire match day that had clean sheets, and it was the Whitecaps keeper and the San Diego keeper, and neither of them were the keeper in the MLS team of the week, which that baffles me anyway. But I think Takaoka is best in the MLS. I think for right now, my back 4 would probably be the back 4 that we saw there against Dallas. Starting with Tate Johnson at left back, Blackman and Priso centre backs with Ocampo on the right. up until like the last couple of games, this is where my selection would have been a little bit different. Prior to the Dallas game and even maybe the Houston game, I would have dropped Gold back into a centre midfielder role to get Larraz off the pitch. But not. I know that sounds a little bit harsh, but I think I was comparing him to Berhalter with everything he did, which was a little bit harsh on him because I think Berhalter might have been like one of our best players that we had. But I
it's
do
also
think
unfair the way
yeah,
that the MLS has pegged Larraz as this Berhalter replacement. I know I'm guilty of it, but it's just not going to happen. I think we need to bandage that wound and move on with life.
yeah. So I think at the moment, Kubas and from his last couple of performances that he's actually put in, it'd be Kubas and Larraz because, like I say, he has really come into it in them last couple of games. I think the last 3 games that he's played, he's really taken his game up to like the level of the Whitecaps, which has been quite nice to see. And yeah, the front four, probably the same. Like I'd probably go with the team that they actually played against Dallas. The only one that I might switch out would be Sabi and Caicedo, but that's just dependent on form at the time. But like as of right now, Sabi over Caicedo, obviously.
Yeah, I think that's also going to be the sub that you're going to see the most going into this like crazy part of the season.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so the next 3 matches then, we've got Sporting Kansas City away. I don't want to really jump the gun on that, but I think that's 3 points. Sporting are at the bottom of the West. Like, come on. We should be
they're pretty painful to watch as well. They don't really offer anything going forward. They're a bit slow defensively. If the Whitecaps play the way they did against Dallas going forward, we should be putting another 5 past these guys.
And then you have a sandwiched Canadian Championship match. It is the first leg of the semifinal with Montreal. Very interesting game because Alexis Sanchez recently signed to Montreal. Curious if he'll play in that, given the Europeans' elite tendency to avoid the BC turf. Let's play to that.
As a United fan as well, I think Alexis Sanchez is a mercenary and is a fraud who convinced everyone that he could play football at a boring club called Arsenal and then came to United, took £350,000 a week and did nothing. So if he's honestly, if he can't play and he's down with like not like a career-ending injury, but just like an illness that keeps him out for like a month or two, just like take your wage and just fuck off. Like, yeah, he had a nice career and stuff. He's like done well at certain clubs, but for United, I think the whole thing about United has left such a like negative like opinion of him in my mind that I've got nothing nice to say. Like my mom always said, if you got nothing nice, just shut your mouth, right?
So we'll see. I bet you he avoids the fucking turf though.
Yeah, he'll avoid us after this podcast.
I hope so. Then we're back home to against St. Louis. So we've got 1 away in Kansas City, 2 on the bounce at home. I think I also saw on the video boards somewhere. I think it's the 9th we play LA, so we got a little bit of a run in here. But I think that's kind of it. Just looking forward, we've got big slate of games coming up. And we've got a lot of content coming, but I think we can kind of end it on that note, though.
So, one question before we go, Matt. One little question here before we go. So, we've obviously got these 2 league games with the Canadian Championship sandwiched in the middle. Would you, if you were in charge here, would you rest players in the first leg of the Canadian Championship, or would you try and take advantage of the fact that we're at home, try and get a decent lead and be able to rest in Montreal?
So this is what I would do. I would rest Sabi and play Caicedo. I would start Alumi, rest Brian White, I would also put in Czech Sabali. I would keep Cubas on the pitch and Larraz. Honestly, I would even probably slot in Badwell over Mueller just to see how the game goes. I think the squad is deep enough that we could probably snake one away. And if all hell breaks loose and we need to smash glass in case of emergency, you have 5 subs right there where it's like, okay, bring in the A squad.
Yeah. I think I'd go with it as well.
Yeah, I think I don't want to like discredit the Canadian Championship because it is a very important competition for Canadians, as much as maybe we don't see the importance of it in terms of like a big competition like Champions Cup or whatever else there could be. But I think at least getting, I don't want to say at least getting, I think this will be the telling game. And if we can get a result at home without having to play our strongest 11 so much on the bounce here.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
And then you go into Montreal, and if you're up, you're up. And if it's a level draw, like say it's like 1-1, then you bring the full team.
Yeah,
but yeah. I think that match will either finish very, very close, like 0-0, or we could squeak one out. I just don't see Montreal's form kind of beating our B team right now. And I don't even want to say our B team because we just kind of said that like everybody's performing so well, but I think that's just how I would classify it.
It's just a reality of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. I would heavily rotate that that Canadian Championship game. And then at the 45th minute, like halftime, 60th minute, I would like make a decision and get ready to die on the hill of my decision. Whether that's like bringing on Gauld, White, Sally as a triple sub, and then potentially Mueller on the 75th, just to create some opportunities and like dictate space a little bit better.
Yeah. Nah.
We'll see. Who knows? Maybe he just goes for the kill in game 1.
Just has it over and done with, then
yeah.
Rest them off without a weight game. Yeah.
Into Montreal and has like that Liam McKenzie. Fuck it, call up the Sedins kid. Like just
right. Yeah. Alrighty then.
All right. Well, let's end it at that, and then we'll jump back on probably after the Canadian Championship game. I think that'll be a good place to come back on. And then look ahead at the St. Louis game and all that.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, well, let's do that. Yeah,
perfect. Well, we'll tie a bow on this episode, and we'll chat to you all later.
Yeah, have a good night.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Caps Cast presented by Whitecaps Fan TV. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram listed below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content.